let's cut right to the chase. Where did the relationship with Ben Barnes disintegrate?
With me, probably a little over a year ago. It was, I think the big thing with Ben Barnes is, this is a very sensitive subject with Shawnee, and we try to keep our housekeeping matters internal. And I don't want to try not to publicly have our interfightings. However, it's coming to a head now to where our tribe is in a situation to where it's going to go one way or another, and getting out and speaking outside of our Shawnee Nation, the information that we just get ourselves, stepping outside that, I would say, area of Ben Barnes information and finding out stuff myself. There's more to the story, and I think everybody should do that. Just like me in classroom teaching and stuff. I'm not going to let you know my point of view on how I think on one side or another. You need to go out and get the information. Here's all the information. Make your decision. It shouldn't be slanted one way or another. And I think everybody, even me, if I say something, don't wholeheartedly just take all that and run with it. Go research, find out. And there's a lot of answers that people will discover on their own if they go and just ask questions. And there's a lot of poignant facts whenever inside our own government, and there are acts to be made when somebody requests documents or records or just wants to know information and they're blocked from it. That's inherently wrong. In our Constitution, it says that every record is open for inspection. I can totally understand if it's something we're working on a deal that might be sensitive or we might lose something, but something that is simple as a trip, money spent that's tribal money, you don't want to show us, that speaks volumes. And me, it's like, hey, here it is. I have nothing to hide. And that's kind of where disintegration started going about a little over a year and a half ago. And there was, I believe it was an audit, and me being inquisitive and doing my job that I was elected to do, ask questions. And I found out real quick that you're probably not supposed to ask questions. You just go along with what's said and vote accordingly and stuff, but that's not me. And whenever I'm confronted with somebody of a bully mentality, I'm going to stand up and go right back at it. And I think that's where it kind of comes in. And of course, you try to get along, and we're professional when we conduct ourselves in our meetings and stuff. But there's stuff that becomes very unprofessional on the outside. And here lately, it seems to be more like that, because I will actually have friends of Ben Barnes send me stuff where he is directly coming after me, threatening, looking for people to do harm to me, damage to me, I think is the appropriate phrase. Then I go into more of a, just because I'm trying to ask questions and find out, I've never done anything to the man, ever. And that's what really kind of bothers. So if you're not in line, then you're on the outcast, and to try to get everybody else to go that same route and get everybody to try to convince everybody else that I'm inherently a bad person is not right, because he's done a lot of things and even spoken a lot of untruths that I've uncovered and stuff.
Yeah. Crazy, because we have video of you and Ben Barnes sitting next to each other. You stood right next to him behind Governor Lord Kelly as at the ceremony where they granted the Shawnee the descent. Like, you guys are tight.
Yes. Coming in, and even he supported me in my election. Now, obviously, he's not going to support me any further, but I think, and this is my own opinion, if you're useful to Ben Barnes, then you're in, but if you're not, or you defied any way, then you're out, and you get attacked all each direction. Do you remember kind of the most, I guess, that cemetery, maybe the name of it, or a lot of the people and their names that were in that cemetery were trying to get conveyed? It's a very similar name to myself and my descendants. Is that the reason why he wanted me up there and involved? He'd have to answer that. I would ascertain that probably so. That subject that you just brought up, that is a big point of contention, because even a few months after that, we get the land conveyed from the state of Kansas. One single thing's been done to it. That's our land, Shawnee property now, other than mowing and the landscaping and stuff like that. Even to this day, a good poignant question to Ben Barnes is, after a year and a half plus of owning this property, have you done a survey on it? There's still a person's fence and a neighbor that is still right next to my grandmother's grave that I would say is on our property. Have you done a ground penetrating radar? Ben Barnes is so rightfully so. I think everybody should try to find out if there are dead, missing, murdered babies at missions and all that. Absolutely, ground penetrating radar, and that's information that we'll talk about later on. But we have a cemetery that has literal dead babies in it with unmarked headstones or broken or damaged, and nothing's been done about that. That's a disgrace, and he's the head of this tribe that got that land. And of course, me bringing it up in a meeting and stuff and say, hey, it's in the works. He took it upon himself to have our secretary, our treasurer of our tribe, make a motion to disband the committee that takes care of that land. I oppose that action, obviously, and it seems like everything's been dropped now. And that would be a great question for Ben Bond after a year and a half.
What do you think happened to those kids at the Shawnee mission? Do you feel like those kids were mistreated?
I was never there, so I can't speak on those kids. Do I believe everything that Ben Barnes says? No, I don't. Do I believe I think there's sides to all stories, because even in today's times, there's kids mistreated in schools today. Do I think that there's probably harsh discipline if something happened? Yes. But how do you find out if there are dead children at that mission? Ground penetrating radar will tell a story. And to find out from the mayor herself, Ben Barnes is the one that stopped twice the ground penetrating radar. If that's true, that's so wrong, and I'd like to know the reason why he did that. When all the other tribes were on board. The neighbors of that mission around there want to know if they've got dead natives in their yards. Understandably so, but to stop that, I have no idea why, other than it kills a narrative that he's trying to go after.
He makes the assumption that Thomas Johnson was a slave owner, therefore, because he controlled kids there at the mission, they must have been treated like slaves. Do you jump to that conclusion?
I think, and this is the great thing about the mission, when they gave us the tour and stuff, they inherently said, well, was the profits made off basically the backs of children? Yeah, absolutely. I think there was a profit made for him on that. The term slavery, you kind of get into a whole different realm when you start tossing that word around. That's a tough one, depending on what you deem the term slavery is. If somebody's working for nothing or for low wages, because I think there would be a lot of people out here in society today that say, I'm not making what I'm worth. Is that slavery? No, not necessarily. Do I think them actually teaching the kids at the school trades and stuff was a good thing? Yes. And what I didn't know that was kind of kept from me when inquiring from Ben Barnes, the actual parents of these children sent them to this. It wasn't like forced removal, post-Carlisle, hey, you have to go here and assimilate. They sent them to this, from what I understand. And of course, this is one of those things where finding facts on all sides, just don't do one side or the other. And this is when you say sitting beside Ben Barnes. I was a Ben Barnes fan. It's very, because I may get emotional on it, because I believed in the man. Because when I first met him twice, before I was involved in tribal stuff whatsoever, he sat down with me during COVID at a park in Miami, 2 different occasions, and we just talked Shawnee. And he took that time as the chief to come and talk to me for hours upon hours. I'm bought in. I love hearing that, except so many of us are searching for that and stuff. So my first election, I didn't happen to win, but the guy that's in there now, great elder and stuff. So I ran again, and Ben supported me. And I'm elected several months in. If you were to say anything negative about Ben Barnes, I'd probably defend him like a Rottweiler. That's how much I believe in him. And it's heartbreaking, because the false persona that I believed, I found out that it was a false persona, because everything that I believed in him was not true. Even Cynthia and stuff, and chatting with her first in office and stuff, and kind of not really knowing how to take her so much, because I could tell she wanted to change also way before I even knew anything. But it's so odd that I was not even a real big fan of Cynthia. But this woman stood up in front of everybody at our general council a couple of years ago and spoke out. So she's a pariah automatically and stuff, and everybody kind of looking at her and stuff. But this is the quality of a chief, that against all odds, you got nobody having your back, but you're still going to stand up and speak your mind, and you're not going to back down. That is chief, chairman, chairwoman qualities right there. In nothing else. You can learn all the other stuff. You can have your council help you run the tribe. We got you. but that personality and that integrity, and then the falling out of finding out that Ben Barnes wasn't all he was made up to be. And that's very heartbreaking because I believed in somebody and I would have done anything for him. I think I even quoted like I'd follow him into battle. But unfortunately, stuff's truths that I found out, not good, and the one more I find out he's just not a good person.
I asked you guys this question last time. I'm going to ask you to you again. Who should control the Shawnee Indian mission?
By saying the Shawnee Indian mission, that's like a possessive word, that it is ours. That'd be like who should control the town of Shawnee? Are we going to do that next? I think that mission, and Mr. Pepper Henry said it good earlier. The color were actually there, obviously before us. Here at Moo. This land and that land up there was used by so many before us, with us, after us. Mother Earth doesn't belong to this one person. Without breaking into song, this land is your land, this land is our land, without being too corny on that, I think a conglomeration of all of us should have a say, but the Historic Society and those folks that have it right now, unless I see something definitive from Chief Barnes that says otherwise, I think everybody should have a say in it. And hearing from their own words that they were going to give us one of the 3 buildings to do Shawnee as we please, and we basically kind of slapped them in the face. And on their side of it, of course I was just there in those meetings and stuff, and then next thing we got lawyers and we're trying to introduce bills to take the land. That's not a good steward on how to be relation with other people. I think from what I saw at that mission a few weeks ago when I was up there was things that when I was there for Orange Shirt had changed just because they're learning stuff too. The thing that really stuck out to me the first time I was there, I wasn't very friendly towards the mission because I saw these pictures of these Native children. They didn't look very happy. They didn't look like they wanted to be there. So the narrative was right there. You can't tell me they were willing to come here to learn a trade. And then to find out a few weeks ago, those weren't even pictures of the actual children that were there. That was a whole other, I think it was post-Carlisle time where they were actually forced there. That conflates, but it also plays into somebody else's propaganda. Like I said before, going up and the mission opened up everything to us. Answer all of our questions. Not that, oh, you got to request records. Oh, we're going to deny you. Sue us in court. We're going to claim sovereign immunity and not give you records. The mission didn't do that. They answered every question. Each person was asked differently, had the exact same answer. Paperwork, documents, they'll give it all to us, letting us go free range wherever we wanted to. We can't even do that in our own tribe. And that's something that would change with Cynthia's church.
That's great.